What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Patsy Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is a very, very simple video with a very, very simple message. You guys know, and I've been getting a lot of shit recently for it, I am really high on how most of this year is going on in WWE. 2014, for the most part, the majority, other than my own personal opinion problems with how they booked Daniel Bryan, has been going relatively well. So, with that, with how much I've enjoyed most of the pay-per-views this year, including WrestleMania, I have a loaded statement for you. Battleground, this Sunday, has the potential to be the best pay-per-view, the best night of wrestling WWE has given us in the 2014 calendar year. Now, why do I say that? Because there's 8 matches. Now, am I saying there's 8 fantastic matches? 8, World Star Match of the Year candidates? No, but there's 6 and 2 bullshit matches. But even the 2 bullshit matches have endings, or I predict will have endings that are going to lead to good things. So even the bullshit is going to take me where I want to go as far as being a wrestling fan. Does that make sense? I can tolerate it because I know where it's going, or I think I know where it's going, or if it goes the way I want it to, good things will happen. One of those matches is the kickoff. So we're going to start with the kickoff. Cameron versus Naomi. Now, Cameron is as useless as the third tit on a bull, isn't she? But this match has to happen. This match has to happen in glorious and finite form to put an absolute punctuation mark on the Funkadactyls are dead and Naomi's done with Cameron. Naomi's going to win this match. There's no questioning that. Either that or they're going to push Cameron, which will just be bad, and it'll be Titus O'Neil all over again, and all that. Naomi, as much as I didn't give her much of a shot most of this year, is impressing me, has had good matches with the champions, etc., etc., etc. And they've just, I think they've sort of exemplified how useless Cameron is, and it helps Naomi look even better. But in all seriousness, she is coming to form, and once she has completely divorced herself from Cameron, once she has completely divorced herself from the Funkadactyls bullshit, I have no problem with her being a more legitimate contender in the WWE Divas Championship picture. Not necessarily saying that I want her to be the champion right away. I don't think, after the Rockers broke up, Shawn Michaels didn't get the title the next day. But, down the line, absolutely. That's the kickoff. That is one of the only 2 bullshit matches on this card, guys. It's good times. What do we have? We have Jack Swagger versus Rusev. Rusev is fantastic. I've said it a million times, I'll say it a million more times. Rusev is what WWE wanted the Great Khali to be, except for the Great Khali was fucking broken from day one. And they debuted him by destroying The Undertaker. They've debuted Rusev destroying people, but he's been like mid-card to low mid-card jobbers and guys that only come up onto the show when they need to job. See Kofi Kingston, etc. Yes, oh yes. But he is a legitimate-looking destructive machine. He showed that in his last 2 pay-per-view matches with Big E. Big E Langston needs something, but I'll get into that sometime later on, maybe in another video. But he showed, Big E did, that Rusev can go with guys that aren't exactly being treated like jobbers in the WWE at the moment. Now you've got Jack Swagger, who should be at least a title contender, with the ability that he has, with the physical presence that he has, the ability, the skills, all the tools in the toolbox, so to speak. Jack Swagger should be a multiple-time ex-world champion. Yes, he's been a world champion. He was the ECW champion, etc., etc., etc. But he should be a multiple-time former champion with all the tools he has. Why hasn't he? Because WWE hasn't given him a character to care about, really, other than, oh my god, why the hell is he on my screen? Boo! And, yeah. And the other problem is, he's always had a manager, and the manager has gotten more attention than he has. See Vicky. See Zeb Coulter, or he's been tagged up with somebody like Dolph Ziggler, who took all the sizzle off the steak. Now, Swagger turning face was something I, always kept in the back of my mind. It's like, if he was a face, they'd probably give him a decent push, and he would have those championship reigns under his belt by now. This, however, and I know everybody sees, oh, Russia and America, and I know, I believe it was Nature Girl 30 calls this the Cold War rivalry all over again. I don't think it's necessarily Cold War. I think it's the very, very simplistic American attitude of American versus somebody that's not from America, and they happen to throw Putin into the mix because it's good political fodder. But all that aside, Coulter and Lana are great on the mic. Lana is fantastic, and she's becoming one of my favorite non-wrestling characters on the show. Zeb Coulter is always great. He's just a despicable guy, and like I said, they haven't really changed the modus operandi of Swagger and Coulter. They've just directed it at somebody who the crowd hates more, so it all of a sudden makes him a face. Now, because I've said before, Rusev has been going over mostly jobbers, and Jack Swagger, for as much as I've had to say about him in the past, Jack Swagger's not a jobber. So he will make Rusev. Rusev, on the other hand, will reciprocate by making Swagger's face turn, and it will be fantastic. These are two deceivingly big guys that can go, and that can go pretty agilely and pretty athletically for guys of their size. If you see them face to face when they face off during the détente on Raw and other things, they size up pretty well. They're almost made to fight each other, and I mean, it is in the States. There is the whole hoorah USA, USA stuff going on there, which is going to get Rusev easy heat, which is going to give Swagger an easy pop, make Swagger's transition a hell of a lot easier, make Rusev's, you know, ascension in the heel ranks a lot easier. Lana and Zeb Coulter hardly have any work to do at all as far as pumping these guys up. The story makes itself, and the work in the ring will speak for itself on Sunday, for sure. For two guys that separately I wouldn't have given a damn about much 1 or 2 months ago, I'm really, really looking forward to this match, and I'm really hoping that these guys prove you know, 2 months ago me and a bunch of other people wrong, because I do think this has the potential to be the dark horse match of the night. It won't be the show stealer, for sure. There's other matches along the way that are going to take that title. But this is the real dark horse. This is the one that's going to sneak up on people, and by the time the match is over, they're going to be like, holy fuck, we didn't see that coming. And I'm not saying that as in an I told you so mentality, but I genuinely like matches that I don't think much of that genuinely come up and surprise me. Now, I'm expecting that from this, but for other people that aren't, I almost envy them. I want to underestimate this match so I can be wowed more. Does that make sense? Maybe, maybe not. The Intercontinental Championship Battleground Battle Royal. Now, the graphic that I have here may or may not be up to date, but for now, we have Rob Van Dam, Damien Sandow, Alberto Del Rio, Fandango, Ryback, Curtis Axel, Big E, Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, Bo Dallas, Sheamus, Kofi Kingston, and the Great Khali. A couple things I'm going to say here. Why is Khali in this match? I'm just saying. Kofi's not going to win. He'll do I used to watch a podcast, as you guys know, called the Cool Dudes Podcast, and leading up into the Royal Rumble, they said something about Kofi Kingston that I'm going to say here. Ooh, I wonder what spot he's going to do. The end. Sheamus does not need to carry 2 belts. He shouldn't even be carrying 1. Moving on. Bo Dallas as the new Intercontinental Championship would make me a happy kid. As would Cesaro, as would Ziggler. Big E Langston, we've already tried belts on him, and he hasn't really done much. Ryback can go to hell. Fandango as the Intercontinental Champion would be fantastic. Not because he's the most deserving guy in the match, but because, you know, he really doesn't get any slack from anybody. So I want to see him win the title to shut people up. Alberto Del Rio, again, really, really underestimated by, or underrated, I should say, by most of the YWC, IWC. So if he wins, and it's kind of a fuck you to them, I will sit back and laugh a lot. Sandow, I would love to see as the Intercontinental Champion, but the way they're booking him right now, he was a sonic car hop on Raw. Just saying. And Rob Van Dam is old. Old Rob Van Dam is old. Cesaro, Ziggler, Bo Dallas, Fandango, Sandow. There you go. And like I say, Khali and Kingston and Ryback shouldn't even be in this match. Give me a hot minute. AJ Lee versus Paige. And now everybody say, oh, this is too quick. They didn't build this up at all. They saw AJ get robbed. Much like, and I'll back up this, and I know, the easy thing to do is to compare AJ Lee to CM Punk. I get it. It is the easy thing to do. there's a lot of comparisons. They have record-breaking title reigns in their respective divisions. They both went away. They both came back. CM Punk, after a crushing defeat by The Undertaker, disappeared for a while, and by the time Jericho called him out and brought him back, we were clamoring for him. And I think maybe not necessarily was done on purpose, but AJ Lee leaving as the heel that had just been vanquished by the brand new smoking babyface in Paige, being defeated as the annoying psychotic heel, and then giving us a chance to miss her, and her association with CM Punk giving her a lot of sympathy. There was only one way to bring her back, and that was to bring her back, play a game of one-upsmanship with Paige, and bring her back as a babyface, because nobody was going to boo AJ on her return. It wasn't going to happen. Now, it makes sense that they turned AJ face. They turned Paige heel kind of out of the blue, but now she's doing her own crazy mind games, false luring in of AJ, which is really, really cool, because I would love to see, at some point, if we got back, say, a Mickie James, or somebody along those lines, I would love to see Mickie James versus AJ, because you could have crazy versus crazy. Now, I think with Paige, we've kind of got like a devious versus crazy, which could work just as well, and could reestablish Paige as a contender, because, you know, AJ got made to look like a joke when she lost her title, and Paige, who's brand new and can't afford to look like a joke being brand new, got made to look like a joke on AJ's return. So she needs to reestablish herself as a threat to the title, and she needs to reestablish herself as a threat as a person in general. So for her to be pulling all these devious mind games out of the blue for a rookie against, you know, AJ, who, you know, with her whole crazy thing, you might want to say is the queen of the mind games, is going to make for a great psychological match. And yes, I know people are going to say, ultimately, because it's a Divas match, oh, you're looking too much into it, you're expecting way too much. I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm really going with what a lot of other people are going with, and what the Lexman claimed to be his own idea, which is the idea that these two girls are going to fight to some kind of no contest and then have a submission match at SummerSlam. These two twisting each other up all over the... Why am I being dinged? Like, what? I'm doing a video. You guys, this hasn't happened in a long-ass time. You guys... You know, the whole joke a while ago, fuck off, I'm doing a video, I was going to make t-shirts made. It hasn't happened in a while, but here it's back, and why? Really? Really? Just why? There we go. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying, seeing these girls just brawl at this pay-per-view to a no contest, and then twist each other up in submissive knots all over SummerSlam, it's almost the only way to go. It really is almost the only way to go, but this match is going to be fantastic. I like NXT. Both of these girls are from NXT. But now that NXT is out there and it's on the network and more people are watching it because now it's become a niche, they really want to over-push Charlotte versus Natty. Which is sad, because it's a good match. But when you try to say it's the best match of the year, it's just not. And I'm saying, in all honesty, as far as potential, they could prove me wrong on Sunday. They could pull a dud on Sunday. This is possible. This could happen. This could be a thing. But this has the potential to smoke Natty versus Charlotte at NXT TakeOver. It really, really does. And these girls could fight every month. Just saying. Speaking of people that fight every month, the Usos versus the Wyatts. 2 out of 3 falls for the WWE Tag Team Championships. This is one of the better established rivalries going on in WWE right now, to be honest. These guys have just kept on killing each other and kept on killing each other and kept on killing each other, and when the Usos have gotten the upper hand has just happened to be when the titles were on the line. Seeing this match at the house show I was at a couple weeks ago, and I'm not going to keep bringing that up, but I'm just using it as a point of reference, the Wyatt family really do have that running into a brick wall effect on the Usos, because the Usos are exciting. You guys know, for the longest time before the Usos got the titles, I was pulling for the Usos to win tag team championships, because every other team was a thrown together tag team, and it was bullshit. And you had one legit team, and they weren't holding the belts, and I didn't think that made any sense at all. I have not lost any respect or any excitement for the Usos whatsoever, but the Wyatts have done everything they could possibly do, other than Bray Wyatt winning the singles title and these guys winning the tag titles. Because there's no way Rowan or Harper by themselves are going to be put into a singles situation at this point. Like, they're not going to put the Intercontinental Championship on Luke Harper and leave Eric Rowan by himself, because Eric Rowan is kind of the Jannetty. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but Luke Harper, of these two, is sort of the leader, and Rowan's there with the mask, and he does his gimmick and his bit, and it's fine. But these guys aren't going to be singles stars right now, the way WWE has them positioned right now. So they've done everything they can do other than win the tag. They've destroyed every tag team in the WWE, including the Usos on multiple occasions. So they've done everything they can do other than win the belts. It's time. And in a match like this goes longer than a standard match, because a standard match ends after the first pin. This one won't. So pure mathematics tells you that this is going to be a longer match. A longer match benefits the stronger, big, more imposing guys, because they can put a beating on the Usos even if they get pinned in between. They can continue beating down the Usos, because even when the Usos have won, they look like they've been ragdolled to hell. Now, some of those victories where the Usos have barely scraped out and they've kind of had to help themselves to their feet. Now, you get that situation this Sunday. The Usos get a quick pin on, say, Eric Rowan. The guy that got that one pin could walk into that big, you know, almost JBL-like clothesline from Luke Harper, and there you're all evened up again. And now, not only are they recovering from the beatdown, they're recovering from the efforts of getting that one pinfall, they're also recovering from the defeat of suffering a pinfall. And here come the Wyatts to pick the bones, or to be the proverbial buzzards. I'm just saying, if the Wyatts don't win this Sunday, then I'm going to start having an issue with this feud. I'm just putting it out there. But this match will be great. It has been great. It has been great for whatever they've done all the way through 2014. So another chapter in that great rivalry, and I'm not saying the Usos won't come back and get the belts somewhere down the line, because this won't be the end. It'll just be the Wyatts finally getting the belts. Moving on, Ambrose versus Rollins. I think I said this in my last video, but you almost don't need to say anything after that. Ambrose is crazy. Rollins is high-flying and devious and has the authority in his back pocket. Ambrose is crazy and doesn't give a shit and wants to kick the living shit out of Roman Reigns. Now, this match isn't going to have a clean finish. Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. Either the authority is going to get involved and Rollins is going to get disqualified, or Ambrose is going to beat the living hell out of Rollins until he gets himself disqualified. This won't have a clean finish, which is fine, which, once again, I want this to lead into SummerSlam. So, either give us a winner with some scheming means, give us no winner, or give us a winner that just barely looks like he squeaked by. What I will say, I don't care if there's a dusty finish, I don't care if there's a DQ or some pulling of the tights or whatever, leave the authority out of it. Whatever scheming means happen, let it be between the two guys. Play it off like Triple H doesn't really give a shit about Rollins right now because he's more focused on the title picture. That makes sense. Triple H is selfish. He's got to, you know, calm the waters between Kane and Randy Orton, so Rollins getting any help kind of slips through the cracks. That makes perfect sense. Rollins can be angry, has to reestablish himself to Triple H later on. He could take out Ambrose later on in the night in some really weird, violent fashion and be like, hey, I'm part of this too. Something like that. But make it close. Either make it a tie, make it a draw, make it a count out, make it that one of them gets disqualified, make it that one of them gets a win, but it's just barely. I don't want a definitive victory here. I need this, much like Paige and AJ, to go to SummerSlam. Then you put a stipulation on it. Then you put last man standing. Or can you imagine these two in an I Quit match? I'm just putting it out there. I'm not even saying that that should happen just yet, but at least SummerSlam. Don't have a dusty finish and then have a rematch the next night on Raw. That will be bullshit. These guys... This is chapter 1. I mean, these guys have fought a million times. These guys have fought in ROH or wherever else they've been. I'm sure there's a lot of history between Jon Moxley and Tyler Black that I don't know about because I don't watch indie bullshit. But as far as them in the WWE, this is chapter 1 of what I hope will be a very, very long story. Moving on. I almost turned off my camera right there because there's more matches to go and, you know... I kind of really am an idiot. Most of you guys know this. I've been asking you guys for my next Q&A how long you guys have been watching me, and the responses that I've been getting are 3 or 4 years or more, or some people simply saying since Cena-apocalypse. So you guys have been watching me for a long time. You guys know I do special shit like that sometimes. Jericho versus Wyatt. And I'm going to say about Jericho what I always say about Jericho. Jericho is the one part-timer that can show up anytime because it's only going to benefit somebody else. See Kofi Kingston, see CM Punk, see Dolph Ziggler, etc., etc., etc. Oh yes, and this time it is Bray Wyatt, and it has to be Bray Wyatt, because a lot of people, and I don't agree, but a lot of people think Bray Wyatt was really taken down a notch by his rivalry with Cena. Now, I'm not sticking up for Cena by any stretch of the imagination, but Cena didn't bury Wyatt as much as most people seem to think that he does, or as much as he's buried other people in the past. Wyatt looked good throughout the entire feud. He lost at WrestleMania, but he looked good. It looked like John Cena put some work in to get it done. Then he got the win back in the cage match. And then, yeah, he lost, quote-unquote, the last man standing match. But it wasn't because he couldn't get up. It was because John Cena put him in a situation where he couldn't get up. So that is definitely not the same thing. And he definitely still looked boss. And John Cena had to bring in backup. So Bray Wyatt being totally buried and, you know, a lost opportunity and people being way too dramatic. No. I've seen these guys. These guys fought on NXT when Bray Wyatt was still on NXT and when Jericho did sort of a guest spot and whatever. It looked great. These guys actually work quite well together. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be psychological. Another match that is pretty sure going to go on to SummerSlam, which is going to lead us to a lot more great mic work by both of these guys. I really can't believe that Bray Wyatt got a boring chant on Raw. Like, what the actual fuck? It's almost as bad as when he first came in and people were chanting Husky Harris at him. It's like, okay, I get chanting boring at Sheamus. I get chanting boring at a Triple H segment or at an Authority segment. I get chanting boring at Cena because it just is. But, okay, when you're going so far afield as to say that one of the best current things happening, not even people, not even promos, one of the best things, period, in the WWE right now is Bray Wyatt. And now you're just making an ass of yourself. It's not like people chanting CM Punk, because that actually has a point behind it. That's just... Bray Wyatt is another psycho. Bray Wyatt is 110% into his character, more than a lot of other people I could mention on the show. He moves like crazy for a guy his size, and speaking of his size, he's lost a lot of that size since he's been on the main roster, so props to him for that. And he's just crazy, and you know what? Jericho's going to lose, and he's going to lose in spectacular fashion, and he's going to do the Art of Jericho and make another star. It's just going to be that. This... And, you know, bold statements are bold. This could be one of the main events at next year's WrestleMania, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. And people are like, oh, why are you booking WrestleMania? Fantasy booking. Well, it could be. It could be. I saw a match, like, again, I'm going to go back to it. I was at a house show, and a lot of the matches that were happening on that house show, I wouldn't mind seeing at a pay-per-view. This I'm going to see on a pay-per-view. My prediction, my anticipation alone for this match, I wouldn't mind it happening at WrestleMania 31. And maybe it will, and maybe it should. And maybe if Undertaker's not retiring, as everybody assumes, we could have Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. And you know what? It's fun. Have fun with your YouTubing. Have fun with your YWC, IWCing. Have fun with your fandom and anybody that tries to squash your creativity like they've done to me many times. Give them 2 of those and call me in the morning. Except don't. And the other match, along with Cameron versus Naomi. Yes, I'm putting this match on the same level as Cameron and Naomi. We have, for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, a fatal 4-way. John Cena, Randy Orton, Kane, and Roman Reigns. Now, it has to be said, there are rumors floating around. I literally just got finished talking about this 2 minutes ago with Abel from PWITOF and a couple of other guys from that group, that apparently John Cena's not going to carry both belts anymore. Apparently the presentation, or the rumor is that the presentation of the World Heavyweight Championship belt to Ric Flair during his entrance on Raw was actually a thing. And they're just going to have the WWE logo belt, because after SummerSlam they're going to change that belt again to the WWE Network logo, the more clean-cut looking W, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. If they were going to keep one belt, maybe keep the championship that looks like a championship. I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen here. Orton and Kane are going to disagree, and they're going to take each other out, and it's going to come down to Roman Reigns, who's not going to get the title just yet, and John Cena, and then hashtag John Cena wins, LOL. But here is the thing, and here's why I'm okay with this. Now, one of these things is, I'm pretty sure, going to happen. The other one is, you know, rumors and fantasy booking and whatever and whatever and whatever. Now, do I want to see Roman Reigns beat John Cena here? Would it do him good? Yes. I do. But whoever wins this is going up against Brock Lesnar next month. And would I rather see John Cena get destroyed by Brock Lesnar? Yes. Yes, I would. Because, as I've heard it, or as I've heard it laid out to me by some people, the idea being John Cena wins this Sunday, LOL. He gets destroyed by Brock Lesnar next month at SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar carries the belt from SummerSlam to WrestleMania. Roman Reigns wins the Rumble, and Roman Reigns defeats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That is a story. Brock Lesnar beats the streak. Brock Lesnar beats the 15-time Golden Boy John Cena. Roman Reigns tops that. And you can believe that that's a lot better. Guys, I don't know what else to say. There's 2 matches on here that I don't really care about, and even those are going to have positive results. The other 6 matches, I don't care who wins, because everybody in them is spectacular, and the potential for great matches this Sunday is almost uncountable. This will be, or at least on paper, at least in the realm of potential, this could, and I'm guessing will be, the best night of wrestling that WWE in 2014 has produced. But what do you guys think? Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
Like me.